2026. Welcome to anyone joining us on YouTube. My name is Councillor Sukat. Public questions? No, we have today. Apologies for absence.
Councillor Varley, Councillor Randall, Councillor Whitman, Councillor Lane, Councillor Gustav, Councillor Alcom and Councillor Skin.
Thank you. Requests for dispensation? Declarations of interest? None so far. Minutes. To receive and agree the minutes from the Planning and Environment Committee held on the 13th of April 2026. That's pages 5 to 12. Any comments or debate on any of those? Can we vote to agree them then, please? All in favour? Thank you. Item 5, arrangements for processing planning consultations expiring before the next committee meeting. To receive notice that all planning applications consulted upon between 21st of April and 27th of April 2026 will be processed under Chair's action due to the necessary scheduling of the annual council meeting on 11th of May 2026, having caused the Planning and Environment Committee to fall outside of its usual bi-weekly timetable. Applications will be allocated to all councillors for their appraisal, as usual, with their draft recommendations to be approved by both the Chair and the Town Clerk under executive powers, as per Standing Order 15.B.XV, and in order to meet statutory deadlines. Approved comments will be forwarded to the District Council and reported to the next Planning and Environment Committee. We know to call that. Current and completed matters reports at pages 13 to 24. To receive and note the current matters report, which summarises and provides any relevant updates on live projects of the Planning and Environment Committee. That's pages 13 to 21. Any comments on that? If not, I'll take to B as well to include. To receive and agree the completed matters report, which summarises concluded projects of the Planning and Environment Committee. That's pages 22 to 24. Georgie, over to you on this one, are we? Which is this one? This one? The completed, you wanted, the master plan, did you want to say that? Not this one.
I was going to say on the current matters, just to flag that we've got a legal presentation scheduled with Jamie Watson, who is the KCC officer for active travel, and he will be updating the Town Council on the JTB's working group proposals for the upward to 7 group, as well as how the compliance for the 20-mile-an-hour has been going, and that is on the 18th of May, and it is on page 14 of the current report on the agenda.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Shank.
I'll just ask if we can find in progress with the Highways Improvement Plan meeting with ACC.
Okay, so we receive and agree. No, you don't. Okay, thank you for that. We will note all those points. Moving on, Kent County Council decision on claim of application at County Lane, Dartford Road, pages 25 to 30. To receive notice, the KCC has confirmed its conclusion that a right of way subsists along the same footpath between Crown Lane and Dartford Road, AU225. To receive the notice of decision report and to note that a formal order will now be prepared for consultation by KCC to record the route as a footpath on its definitive map of public rights of way. That's quite good, isn't it? Councillor Blake, yes,
It's dodged across there.
That's pretty good, that one.
What a fuss.
So it doesn't actually change anything very much.
No,
People already walk across it.
yes, but it just means it's a formal. Yes, formally they're allowed to, not.
In several pages for formal.
Oh, there's some signs up there telling people
Yes.
not,
Yes.
maybe those could come down.
Well,
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Item 8, appeals, pages 31 to 35. Received notice that the following appeal has been allowed and planning permission granted by the planning inspector on the 19th of February this year. A separate application cost was refused, so that's the minor material amendment 85 Bayham Road. Who handled that? Was that you? Councillor Clayton?
it was. Yes. I'm not surprised. It was successful. And I'm not surprised they didn't get tested.
No, exactly.
It's a bit of a mess, really.
It was. Anyway, we note that. It's always worthwhile to know. Moving on to Development Management Committee, pages 37 to 40, to receive notice of the below application is due to be discussed. It actually was discussed by the Management Committee on the 23rd of April. 1 Hollybush Lane, previously allocated to Councillor Ancrum and then to Councillor Clayton. So on the 3rd of November last year, and subsequently on an amended version on the 19th of January this year, Seven Oaks Town Council recommended refusal on 4 grounds. And the recommendations are attached. To note, full documentation can be accessed through the District Council's planning portal. And to note that Councillor Lane was registered and she did speak on behalf of the Town Council. And the decision was made under Chair's action to allow her to do so. This was due to the nomination being required for the next Planning and Environment Committee. Councillor Clayton, shall I come to you to say
Yes,
something about that one Hollybush Lane?
yes.
It's quite disappointing, I think.
It was disappointing. I think that the neighbours and Councillor Lane gave a very good account
They
of
did.
themselves. I thought they did a super job. And we managed to persuade some of the Development Management Committee, but not enough. We needed another 2 or 3.
It was another 2 you needed, yes.
So I think there are probably too many members of the Development Management Committee just do what they're told, which is part of the problem. They don't think for themselves. But some did.
So be it.
Some didn't, but it was been approved. But what was clear was that the district council has heard that this is a problematic site, and I think will be able to be persuaded to do the right things in terms of conditions, replacing trees and that sort of thing.
Yes,
Anyway,
which is always worthwhile.
Yeah.
Okay, well, disappointing, but there we are. Thank you. Moving on, item 10, Town Centre and St John's Hill Area Master Plans to receive and consider adopting the final Town Centre and St John's Hill Area Master Plans, as well as their corresponding consultation reports, as received from the Town Council's consultant and amended in response to consultation feedback. These are attached separately, and also the following links are shown. Georgie, this is your bit.
So Linda and I have reviewed the 4 documents and come up with some starter comments, which I'll go through. So the town centre master plan, there's references to the totals of people that replied to the consultations. We thought that, and that happens throughout the document, but we thought that it would be good to note that that's in addition to feedback that was got throughout the workshops. So it wouldn't only be influenced by the people that replied to the consultation. And we thought that the town council logo should be also added on each page throughout, because it's not clear that it's a town council document. Page 6 mentions the impact of the COVID pandemic on shop vacancy levels. So I just recommended that we request that Mike reads a recent Price Street shop occupancy vacancy study versus the nationwide.
oh no, I'm sorry. Oh, sorry. Oh, okay.
No, that was me, my bad. I apologize. Sorry, Georgie.
Page 7 mentions potential sites. I thought it might be a bit clearer if that's housing / business sites, just for clarity. Page 8 mentions that the consultants worked closely with us. We'd like it to say that the town had publication for master plans. There are a few stock images throughout the document on pages 8, 9, 21, 23, 27, 32, 35 and 40, which are stock images of cartoon people. There is good diversity in terms of ages and abilities, but we thought it would be better to have diversity in race and ethnicity as well. And there is a line title on page 11, which is just it's spelled wrong. Page 12 needs correcting in terms of Null Park and Null House ownership and management. So Null Park is owned and managed by Null Estate, while Null House is owned and managed by both Null Estate and the National Trust. Page 14 mentions Null Park being a triple SI, but hasn't recognised its designation as National Landscaping and Greenbelt, so we'll add that. Pages 35, 36, 37, 48 and 75 mention the former farmers' sites as being pending permission, that has since been granted planning permission at the Development Management Committee, although that is contingent on section 1.6, which I am not aware of having been signed yet. Page 36, there's in 2 images from the planning application for 136 High Street, which is the old Tesco site. And the boarding has now been removed, so one of those images could be replaced with one that shows what it looks like in situ. Page 37 mentions the local plan and the site allocation plan East High Street, which we thought could be clarified that it's the draft local plan currently. Page 39 talks about the stakeholder workshops and the sort of consultation events, but doesn't mention the one-to-one stakeholder meetings. Page 43, there's just a single cycle kaleidoscope. Page 49, the first paragraph mentions that there are going to be separate master plan processes for land use of High Street and Sevenoaks Station. I just thought it should be clarified earlier that those are to be undertaken by the district council. They are completely separate. Page 61, there's just a small typo of manoeuvre. Page 75, this is a main one. So this is the design guidance for Sevenoaks Station. And I recommend that we add specific mention of this being an ideal wayfinding location. And then also in relation to the town council's comments to the draft local plan recently, that there needs to be drop-off parking as for deliveries, as well as considering the impact on quarry cottages and houses on Little Dean Court, Moorwood Close and Railway cottages, which was as per our response. And then page 77, which looks at quick things. If we add images and reference to public art and lighting of the Christmas lights events, as well as the vine trees lit up, that can make it more relevant to the town. So that is the comments on the town centre master plan. Do you want to go through any comments on that one, and then I'll go through the consultation report, or shall I just?
Any comments so far? We can split it. Yes, councillor Jay.
I want to thank for the thoroughness of that.
Yes.
I picked up on some of the typos, but working the references back into those planning applications were ones I did not put my head into quite that much detail. So thank you very much for that. It was really good.
Any other comments on that first section? Okay, no, moving.
Okay, the town master plan consultation report. Page 2 mentions that the public consultation was 3 months long, but doesn't mention why it was significantly extended. That was due to all of the, I think it was the local plan consultation was happening at the same time. Page 4, it looks at the who attended one of the stakeholder workshops and mentions Dawn Lee, but hasn't added her representation of the Chamber of Commerce. Pages 4, 5, 10, 22, 24, 28, etc. That's the same comment about the stock photos, and just adding more diversity to those. Page 5, principles. The 10 principles are noted, but there's no page reference for those, and that is the same for page 12 when alternative travel options are mentioned, but the page numbers again haven't been referenced, so we just recommended that be amended. Page 10, the second to last paragraph references public spaces, but doesn't clarify that these don't exist yet and are actually proposed within the report to be delivered. And then page 11 is one more typo about the late Roger Fitzgerald, which was just that one. So that's all I have on the town centre master plan consultation report.
Any other comments from, yes, councillor Clayton?
I was checking out one I think is the right document, so I get a bit confused, I'm afraid, with all these links. But I think there is a quoting error on page 17, where it says architectural historian Nicholas Pedmer claimed the southern end of Sevenoaks High Street had more worthwhile buildings than almost any other street in the country. It should say county. Sorry about that. I'm pretty sure it's county. I'll check it when I get home, but if I don't come back to you, chase me.
Is that in the main document or the consultation?
In,
Yeah, that's the last. I'll say, yeah, okay.
Will Spotting.
good spot.
Okay, any other comments on that part?
Okay, so the master plan for the St John's Hill area. There's a small typo on page 6. And then again, the representation of the stock images is pages 8, 9, 18, 21, same comments before. Page 10, the annotation of Greatness Park just needs correcting from 23 to 22 so that it matches the corresponding key. There's another typo on page 13 of which should be words instead of verb, and a typo on page 19 in the fifth sentence, third paragraph, where there are 2 is words on either side of the word. Page 22 talks about leisure opportunities near St John's area, but doesn't mention Hollybush Recreation Ground. Page 24, the second to last paragraph. Going 20 mile an hour in the JTV needs amending to clarify that the scheme wasn't promoted by the JTV. It was, I don't know how we make it clear, because they didn't approve it, they recommended it for approval, but just which page is that? That was, yeah, 24 of the main report.
What wording would you prefer?
Perhaps promoted by the town council.
I was going to say we
by
need-
the JTV.
I think that would be better because it was this town council that pushed it. Wasn't it? You were
No.
instrumental in that council.
It says, so it's worded as it's being promoted by, it's not no JTV, not on the 225. So
Promoted by the town council.
the town council considered by the JTV, although removed from the 225. Well, it's not removed from the 225.
Which page are we on? Which page?
24 of the St John's Hill area master,
Second to last part.
middle column.
22.
I think what Georgie said, unless you want to change that.
Yeah, I think it's right that the town council promoted it some JTV was
Approved it,
signed it on.
signed it off, there we are, but it does need to say that we promote.
Yes.
Promoted by fund,
Oh,
yeah.
good, yeah,
Yes, absolutely,
yeah.
okay,
Well,
that
probably
one,
was
did you
a big one.
want? Hurry on?
Yes. Where have I got to? Page 25 is just a tiny small typo. A needs to be removed after Seven Station. There's on page 33, the year that the parking beat survey was undertaken needs to be added. It just says September. Page 35, the consultation report noted that the feedback commented that there was a lack of note on the old meeting house and potential parking impact of it being used. I would potentially recommend adding reference to the planning application under where it says the current proposals within this area. So potential wording is, it is noted that there's an ongoing planning application for a religious building at the old meeting house, and any future community use may require traffic and or parking mitigation.
I think that's good.
Page 41, which is looking at some of the principles. Wayfinding is mentioned in a couple of them, but I think it would also go well in the people focused public realm. Page 48 has a map, and 3 of the locations are not existing currently. It's the public open spaces that the master plan proposes, and I've worked with them to clarify the difference. Page 49, which looks at potential movement opportunities, the railway bridge that we have spoken about a lot and lobbied for to be included in the Oxford to Sevenoaks route and adapted into being able to be used by cyclists and prams. Just to add that as a potential future opportunity.
Sorry, is that an additional one?
Yes.
Additional item on that page, you ought to know. Yeah, and their enhanced connection located, of course, that makes sense.
Pages 53 and 54, which look at traffic and movement. I've just put reiterating that traffic and movement modelling or trials are recommended for all of the explored traffic options. I think even though it's mentioned a couple of times, it's just good to reiterate it on each of the options, because that was something that people were nervous about in the consultation. And then on page 60, it talks about, I think it's the small wins, and it's talking about having a cohesive shop front, and the town council commissioned an artist drawing of flags being used throughout the St John's area to create a more cohesive street scene and kind of a character area feel. So it's good. That is good. Use that. So that's my thoughts on the master plan.
Okay, we again, thank you very much for this detailed work, exactly what you were about to say again. Amazing. Any additional comments from anyone on that section before we move on? Yes, Councillor Clayton.
I'm just looking for the bit that I I think this is great. Absolutely brilliant. On page 12, figure 2.2, historic plan of the St John's area. There's a bit missing from the picture. The bit of the map which actually covers the area between I think it's Greatness Lane and St John's Road or Bradwell Road. It's sort of blank. It's sort of disappeared from the map. Yeah, figure 2.2. Figure 2.2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm sure we've got a map which has got that bit in it. That's the thing.
Yeah, well, the historic one.
Yeah. It just looks a bit odd. I'm sure that can be fixed.
Researching.
Yeah.
Have a look at that bit. Okay. Any other comments?
So finally, the consultation report for the St John's Hill area. Page 3 is the same as the town centre report, which is just to add mention of the one-to-one stakeholder meetings in addition to the workshop events, as well as the same comments about mentioning that it wasn't just the surveys and consultation that impacted the feedback from the one-to-ones and the stakeholder events. And then the same comment about the stock images again, on quite a few images. And then page 11, there's a typo in the last sentence for the figure numbers. So they say 2.11 and 2.22, but then reference, and then that's 2.1, so just to correct that. Page 12 and 16 talks about the consultation dates for master plans, but they don't agree with each other. They're two different dates. So I need to double check which one's correct, and then we will just get the consultants to amend which one. I think it's because we had to extend it. So page 16 has the sentence priorities prioritised, which are supposed to be amended to priorities favoured. Page 18, the last sentence in the second paragraph reports of feedback that traffic flow shouldn't be displaced to surrounding residential streets. So I'd recommend potentially adding a note in the corresponding master plan, which is where the traffic and transport modelling are recommended. And then finally, the page 27, the third last paragraph reports feedback and frustration that potential traffic impact of the old meeting houses are recognised. So I would recommend adding a note that potential future use of the building has now been referenced on page 35, and that links to my recommendation for the main master plan report under the potential uses.
Thank you very much. Phew. Getting to the end of that. Thank you very much. Any comments on any of that at all?
On this, the paper, there's no mention of the stock images. And
Oh, you have an older version.
I said it. I'm going to when I know.
I was saying that.
Sorry, is so the intention then, I guess, is that we're adopting these reports subject to these
Yeah.
changes and any others that we've commented on being made, is that right?
Yes.
I'm really pleased that we're doing this. We set out as a mission to do master plans in this town. Right at the beginning of this council, I'm so pleased to see
Yeah.
these come through. I've been reading them today, not looking at the level of typo sort of detail he does. Thank you for that detailed work. But I'm so pleased to see all the hard work and all the input from residents, businesses, charities, clubs and societies that everyone's been able to put into this. I think they're really good pieces of work, and the sooner they're adopted and we can work them into our planning policies, the better.
Absolutely, great. Yes, councillor Creighton.
Just on page 26, there's a bit about cycling, which
one?
which document? Page 26 on the master plan, I presume it's the master plan.
Master plan.
Yeah.
The St John's one.
St John's one.
Which talks in the text about the 2023 local cycling and walking infrastructure plan prepared by St Luke's District Council. But the routes are actually indicated on the map of, well, not very clearly anyway. And it certainly doesn't show the stuff that's actually been built.
Sorry, which page are we reading?
Page 26, just might be worth marking the things that have actually happened. Because they're on the ground out there.
That's that one.
Just, I mean, I think that's the one that needs to be clearly shown.
Yeah. Okay.
In a different, different,
Update.
yeah. But I think that would just make it more relevant and clear.
Okay, thank you for that. So, can we, sorry, councillor Willis.
Discuss, I mean, fast forward next couple of years, what happens now? No, just naivety, but
Well, we finished this,
Yeah.
it's a public document adopted by us, and then we worked through to have it adopted as a planning document and contained within the next version of the next development. It becomes a reference document as opposed to an action plan. When people are looking at development, they should look at this and see how it fits in the proposal.
okay.
It's
But-
also been included in the district council's draft local plan, which they consulted on last December. And that was included in one of the policies, the SEV one, which is to do with St Luke's. So local developers, while they should be looking at the town neighbourhood plan and its appendices, the third thing that they're likely to look at is the district council's local plan. And if the master plans are embedded into it, then they should be using the design guidance for any of the sites, and we've recommended some design guidance for some of the sites that are in local plan. And also it's good to sort of focus section 106 negotiations for the kind of local infrastructure projects that a developer should be providing as part of their development to serve the local community.
And in practice, how robust is it and how long does it last for?
Really, I think everything's open to challenge, but it's a very good start, very good place.
Okay, no, I'm delighted with what's done, but I just don't know, what it actually moves, just.
If it's part of the local plan adopted, it will be there for as long as that local plan's in place.
Okay.
Councillor Clayton, you were next,
Yeah,
and then
well,
councillor
same
Shipp, then-
theme really. Is there anything we can do to improve the chances of getting bits of this, or all of it, embedded in the district council's final version of its local plan?
We have done that, they have made a policy, and as long as their local plan doesn't change,
Right.
they've made a policy that they will adopt the Seven Oaks master plan as part of its local plan, so it's already there. It's quite a big achievement early on, actually.
Yeah, it's a very
Because
big
normally
achievement.
you're trying to get them inserted, and part of that is to do with plan lines of them going along at fairly similar times, so if they had already created their local plan, it would be quite hard to get it in, as it is, it's in there. And I think it also stands us in good stead, whatever happens to the local plan, with a new unitary authority, that this parish has got its plans set out. And when people maybe from a distance don't know the area so well, you've got a plan that you can put in front of them and say, this is what the residents want.
Brilliant.
Okay.
Did you have something?
Only a little to add to that is that the other opportunity it gives us, which is intangible at the moment, but if funding were to become available from whatever sort in Westminster or elsewhere, that having this adopted will give us the opportunity to try and progress some of these projects without this embedded. It would be much harder to create the case if there was a regeneration fund that would allow us to do the Hollybush Square, for example.
Yeah.
Then having that policy in existence would allow us to quickly jump in and put together the business case with a policy backing to the case, which would put us in a more advanced position, having done the thinking, done the work, the consultation, than might be the case with other applicants.
So it's a good thing.
Mm.
On many levels. Okay, so with the amendments that we have gone through, that Georgie has gone through, with the additions of councillor Clayton and councillor Shay, if there's no more, can we vote to agree that, please? All in favour? Thank you. Moving on, decision notices on the planning applications that we looked at. All fairly similar. One was, okay, we recommend refusal and one's granted. That was for Shay Close. Was that you?
We're not going to.
We're not going to discuss that one, we're going to move straight on. Okay, it's one of those things. Planning applications we're on to now. Who's the first one? Councillor Daniel, Green Hills.
Yes, thank you. It's in Green Hills, 12 Oakville Road. This is an amendment to an application that was granted at the end of 2025 with alterations to the building footprint with internal alterations. So there's a revised garage roof with the addition of a clock turret, an addition of a partial basement plant room under the garage, alterations to the appearance of the garden room with the inclusion of PV panels and alteration to patio area. So this is a proposed amendment to an application granted by SDC for the replacement dwelling. The alterations to the footprint are described as minor. It's quite hard to tell from the plans actually what the changes are. You can tell the garden room is now going to be timber with patio doors, and the basement under the garage isn't visible. The replacement dwelling is substantially bigger than the existing house, and actually at STC we rejected the original application due to bulk and massing, but STC approved it. These amendments don't warrant a refusal based on the original application, so my recommendation is approval.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Thank you. Any debate? Can we vote, please? Then all in favour. Thank you. Carried. Councillor Canny, 14.
This is the proposal for a home office at the end of the garden. Many of these are being done these days, and the windows, the only windows in this building will face the main house, so they won't upset anybody else. As there's a sloping roof, the only concern is the materials that are going to be used. And that concerns the person at who will be looking at the end of the building. So those are of interest. The two houses in Boswell Road, located behind the plot, and whose garden space back wall. And I think it will be excellent and recommend approval.
Thank you. Do you have a second then? Thank you. Any debate? Can we vote then, please? All in favour? Thank you. Carried. 35 Barnacle Road, councillor Ancram, not here. This application is for alteration to the front side boundary replacing timber boarded fences with brick facing wall and black metal railings. It also includes widening the driveway and hard and soft landscaping of the driveway area. This property is located in the Hollybush Conservation Area. The Conservation Officer has commented on the application, and while the boundary treatments are considered to be in keeping with the style of the properties in the area, there are concerns about the extended style of the hard landscaping on the driveway. Okay, so the Conservation Officer seems to have raised a few concerns there, which are probably being negotiated. So anyway, the recommendation from Councillor Ancram is refusal. unless the conservation officer is satisfied with the proposed hard landscaping in accordance with the NPPF requirements for the conservation area. And informative, any hard landscaping should be permeable to allow for adequate drainage of surface water. The boundaries materials should also allow for wildlife movements such as hedgehogs in accordance with the environmental provisions of the local plan. We have a number, don't we, for that little part?
Yes, L1 for the hedgehog hole and L2 for the.
Thank you very much. So I recommend that from the chair. Any amendments or debate? Can we vote then, please? All in favour? Thank you. Carried. Seal Lodge, Councillor Whiteman. Again, not here, so demolition of existing conservatory, sauna and shower room and erection of a new extension with roof light, alteration to fenestration on ground floor. This is a detached house on the east side of Seal Hollow Road. It is outside the Wilderness Conservation Area, but next to the locally listed Little Seal Hollow. The application is to replace a dilapidated rear extension with a new one. The extension is at the far side of the plot from Little Seal Hollow, and the Conservation Officer is content. There are two small windows in the extension looking to the boundary, with the main windows looking into the garden, so that doesn't look like there's a problem overlooking, and the recommendation is approval. Any comments or debate? Can we vote then, please? All in favour? Thank you. Moving on. Councillor Lane.
Hello.
You do this,
I'll do this, yes.
You do this one.
This is a proposal, which it's part of a project to return number 14 Hollybush Lane, which is a large detached house on the boundary of Bayham Road, Vinecourt Road and Hollybush Lane. It was split into flats, two flats upstairs and downstairs, about 25 years ago. And this is a project to return it to a big residential house. So it's reducing the number of residential units in the district by one. And as part of it, they want to re-roof it to take off the interlocking roof tiles with what I suspect are the original grey slates. I think it looked lovely. And yeah, I just recommend approval, provided the conservation officer is happy with the materials and the tiles.
Thank you. Do you have a second?
You've said they're slates, not tiles.
That's slates, yeah, slates. Yeah,
Slates.
slates, yes, sorry.
With the grades chosen.
Yep,
Do you
sorry.
have a second?
Yes,
Thank
you
you.
did.
Yes. Any debate? Can we vote, please? All in favour? Thank you. Carried. Councillor Willis, 7 South Park.
This is actually a very similar scheme to the one Tony just talked about. So this is one of the lovely houses on sort of South Park, which is now 3 flats, but converted back into a single building. Most of the work is internal. They seem to, I mean, it all seems very sympathetic, I have to say, and they seem to put a lot of effort into the various brickwork, and there seems to be sort of extensive conversations with the conservation officer. So my suggestion is approval subject to conservation officer being happy with the plan.
Thank you. Do you have a second? Thank you. Any debate? Can we vote then? Please all in favour. Thank you. Moving on. Councillor Willis, still with you. Poundland.
So this is the illuminations that are Mountain Warehouse. And again, there's been kind of discussions with the conservation officer about the signage being too big and a bit too bold on that part of the high street. So I think the movement is to reduce it, but it's kind of getting bounced backwards and forwards. But I think, as I understand it, the signage has already been put up. It is quite large. Well, the font is certainly quite large, and the suggestion is that less appears. So as long as the conservation officer is happy again, I'm happy.
Okay, thank you. Second, please. Thank you.
By the sound of it, you're not happy.
Well, no, the current stuff
Yeah.
is too large, and I think the discussion is to find a way of, and I guess it's caught between that's their brand and that's what they need.
But is the proposal that is in front of us what's been put up?
No, I think the proposal is to reduce the size. I think that's as I read it.
Are you sure?
There seemed to be one, and then there was another one that came with it.
So you need to be clear that
Yes, councillor.
Have a look at it,
Yeah, Barnes.
just so we can. I'm just like to be confident when we're looking at a revised scheme or the
Yeah.
one that's on the building now, as commented on by the conservation officer. It's unfortunate that this is retrospective, that their planning came forward before the store opened.
Particularly that site, because it's such a common site. I must say, I've been walking past it recently, thinking, ooh.
It's great to see it alive and busy
Well, I
and
think actually
occupied
that's
again.
just the sign.
Well, there's a thing from the planning officer saying, as presently proposed, the oversized lettering, the track.
That's what's up there now. Yeah.
So this here says existing, and then underneath where it says mountain warehouse is proposed.
And on the existing one, is that the old sign?
Just as county council.
Yeah, so that's after the previous occupier had taken their sign away.
Nothing.
It wasn't a painted fascia shop.
To suggest one might say rejection unless it's smaller.
So it's not for us to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, if it's already up there, then there's no point having planning.
Well, no, there is, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, we have to look at it as if it's not there.
It's the prominence of it as well. I think it's particularly prominent.
It's their branding, isn't it?
I know, but.
Yeah, we still have a branding slightly smaller,
So, yeah.
all in proportion.
Okay, so you have to think, where's the harm? I mean, we have here approval providing the conservation officer is satisfied.
It is slap bang in the middle of a high street conservation area. It's extremely protected zone.
What do you think, councillor Clayton?
Not very.
On the planning portal, there is no revised application. And the comment of the conservation officer as listed in councillor Lewis's summary says, no objection in principle to signage. However, as presently proposed, the oversized lettering of the full width fascia distracts attention from the listed buildings to either side and is unduly intrusive in the conservation area street scene. The overbearing presence of the full width fascia sign results in a low level or less than substantial harm to the significance of the potentially affected designated heritage assets. And the proposal in the present form cannot be supported in terms of policy N4. Should the lettering of the fascia sign be reduced, or it would sit comfortably in the local context and there would be no further objection. I reckon that we should propose refusal unless the conservation area officers requests
Are
met. Yeah. Okay.
Would you be happy to?
Yeah.
Answer with this and to
But
have a
that
second,
gives
are you
that-
happy with that?
I am, yes.
And it gives the local district members the power to call it in.
Okay.
So if
So
the
my-
conservation area officer gets overruled.
Okay.
We perhaps extend that a little bit, say what we would actually like, which
No.
is significantly smaller.
No,
Well,
No.
but the
we can't recommend, because if we recommend and then it gets refused, people come back to us and say, well, you recommended X, Y, Z. We are just looking at what's in front of us. What do we think about that? And councillor Clayton's, I think, correct in what he's just said with the conservation officer's comments. And I think that's the way to go.
if we are backing the conservation officer, he's saying needs to be reduced so that it does not exceed the width of the preceding Poundland sign.
Well, we.
Which I think, you know, if they come up with a sign like which was the same width as the Poundland sign, there would be a leg to stand on to turn it down.
Exactly.
So we need to compose our response in terms of why we don't approve this rather than what the planning officer is suggesting. So if we're saying we're recommending refusal, we're recommending refusal because it's overbearing.
Yeah.
In its setting.
Size.
It's setting in the conservation area with adjacent listed buildings.
Yes,
It's
it's
the impact on those two things. isn't
And then
it?
you can put an informative, which was a suggestion of the conservation
I think it's the
officer.
location which is the key
Yeah.
issue here. If this was further down the high street or into dark, other parts of the town, it's the key location of it and the impact it's going to have on all these listed buildings. I think that's the issue.
Yeah.
Right,
So-
So we have that amended with those and the informative. Any other debate?
Do we need an informative to inform them what they've already told us? Seems to
It
be
was what the conservation officer
the
said.
conservation officer has made his comments.
Yeah, that's
Do we
right.
need to inform the district council that their own conservation officer has made comments that we have read?
Sometimes you do.
Do any
Yes,
harm?
Really?
you do have to sometimes, but also it gives our thoughts as well, because it's our thoughts, wherever they go, it's our thoughts and discussions.
Yeah.
Yes,
Is there any design guidance for?
Oh, yeah. Lots.
Yeah, they're not internally illuminated.
Side of the sign.
There's on
I don't
signs,
think
there is
No,
no
an opportunity.
It's just too big.
It's the
Look at this
location.
again.
okay,
That's right.
we've gone through that. Okay, right, yes, can we vote then, please, for that recommendation, all in favour? Thank you, against? Ones, thank you. Moving along to Quakers Hall Lane, councillor Clayton.
Hello, this is an application for single-storey extensions to the rear and the side on a semi-detached house. The main part is at the rear and is similar or smaller than the rear extension to number 42, which is the other half of the semi. The other part is to the side, and it looks as if it leaves a 1 metre gap to the boundary wall with number 46. Number 46 is built on a much lower level. Really, the first floor in number 46 is pretty well level with the ground floor in number 44. So there is potential for for loss of light, because number 46 has windows in the ground floor which look out towards 44. But I think it should be okay, but I would recommend approval unless the planning officer finds the impact of light loss on number 46 ground floor windows at much lower level we are acceptable, and all the side parts of the extension reaching 45-degree rule. And it might do actually, so just it needs a check. But apart from that, it should be okay.
Okay, do we have a second? Thank you. Any debate?
It seems to say we want the side part of the extension to breach the 45-degree rule.
Oh yes, well, yes, yeah. Okay. Unless we say recommend approval unless the impact of light loss on number 46 is not acceptable. I say or the side part of the extension reaches the 45-degree rule. We're recommending approval unless it's fails the test.
Unless it fails the light.
Yeah.
Okay, that's, okay,
So, yeah,
Any-
Probably don't need the comma between the unacceptable and the and,
no,
Okay.
it says
Right.
or, should say
because
or.
it alters the meaning of it.
Yeah, it does, agree. Take my camera out.
take the comma out. Okay, any further debate? Can we vote then, please, all in favour? Thank you. Moving on, Maywood Waterford Gravel Road, yes, this was councillor Skinner's. Variation of condition 2, erection of replacement dwelling house in the amendments of roof light, solar panels, pergola, windows and gates, and relocation of bin storage. And SHP to now comply with MCS, so to aid the noise emittance, new external shutters and alterations of landscaping and drainage. Okay, so the extra roof light, Georgie and I had a little look at this, the extra roof light. That's one thing, one extra roof light. Integrated solar panels are moving to the south-east facing roof, don't see a problem with either of those. And there's an acoustic report for the heat pump and the noise, and they moved it slightly. So I'm not an expert on noise emittance for those surveys, but I think we can recommend approval providing the planning officer is satisfied with the acoustic report for the heat pump. Any debate? Okay, can we vote then, please? All in favour? Thank you. Moving on, councillor Whiteman. Okay, we have here Westcombe House, Wilderness Avenue. Removal of existing conservatory, single-storey extension to rear ground floor, with extension to roof terrace over, new parapet wall to existing rear extension, single-storey extension to side of ground floor on existing terrace. alterations to windows and fenestration, alterations to form new open oak framed porch to front, enlargement of existing second floor, along with new roof form, increasing overall height of this part, not taller than the highest existing ridge, new roof lights in lieu of existing dormers, and associated external works and solar panels. Westcombe House is a large detached house in a large plot on the south side of Wilderness Avenue, with extensive hedging and trees along all boundaries. It is in the Wilderness Conservation Area, but not close to any listed or locally listed buildings. There is no comment from the Conservation Officer. The house has been subject to considerable change. It is partly finished in brick, render and tiles. This application consists of three main parts: a new rear extension, a new side extension, and changes to the roof line, but not to the overall height. These changes permit significant internal reconfiguration. There are accompanying changes to fenestration, and there are solar panels to the rear. Since the garden slopes to the west, the existing side extension is below the level of the main house and has a roof terrace. The proposed new side extension is therefore in effect a conservatory, heavily glazed with an aluminium frame, sitting on a roof terrace. Given the screening by trees and hedges, there do not appear to be any overlooking issues. The footprint of the houses is little changed, so there do not appear to be issues with trees or biodiversity. There is as yet no tree officer report. The proposed finishes match the existing house, although the side extension conservatory is a new feature. And the recommendation is approval, subject to the planning officer being satisfied there are no overlooking issues and that the proposed materials and finishes are appropriate. So I propose that from the chair. Any comments? Yes, Councillor Clayton.
Well,
Just there's a lot going on. I think we have to trust Councillor Whiteman
Absolutely.
to have analysed it all.
He knows his area, doesn't he? Did you want to say something, Councillor Clayton?
no,
No?
no, you can't confuse, but
Okay, if there's no further debate, can we vote then, please? All in favour? Thank you. Carried. Chichester Drive, Councillor Guston, Councillor Daniel.
Thank you. This is by Chichester Drive, which is the demolition of the existing rear conservatory and the construction of a replacement conservatory / sunroom with insulated roof and roof lights, the formation of a new patio area and steps to the rear with a stepped retaining wall. This is a 4-bed detached house. The new proposed conservatory is slightly deeper, about a metre deeper than the existing one that's to be demolished. There's a woodland TPO which covers the site, which means all the mature trees are protected. The arboricultural report comments that there's a sweet chestnut and a sycamore which have roots in the lawn which are adjacent to the proposed patio excavation. That the proposed excavation will slightly encroach on the RPAs of these two trees, but the conclusion of the tree officer is that the resilience and hardiness of both tree species will enable the work to be carried out without being detrimental to them. No other trees to be affected or would be removed to accommodate the proposed work. So the recommendation that Councillor Guston is making is approval.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Thank you. Any debate? Can we vote then, please? All in favour? Thank you. Carried. Springbank Clock House Lane. I looked at this one. This is a single-storey demolition of the existing garage and erection of single-storey side extension with roof lights and internal alterations. So the single-storey garage is a detached single-storey garage sitting slightly forward of the property, and they want to knock it down and put in sort of squaring it off actually. It's a new living space and utility and a boiler room, and there's no windows in that fenestration, just doors onto the side, but it's at least a metre from the boundary, and there's doors to the front, so, and roof lights, so there's no overlooking issues there at all. I don't see any problems, and my recommendation is approval. Any debate? Can we vote, please? All in favour? Thank you. Carried. Moving on. Councillor Dr. Canny, 1 Glenview Road.
This is a single-storey rear extension with roof lights. Just turns the kitchen into an extension dining room as well. And to make a dining area to the kitchen, I don't think this will upset anybody. It's quite a large garden and should be very nice.
recommend?
I recommend approval.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Thank you. Any debate? Fairly straightforward on that one. Can we vote then, please? All in favour? Thank you. Carried. 71 Britton's Lane, back with you, councillor Daniel.
Yes, this is an erection of single story extension with roof lights and a new retaining wall and steps to top garden, alterations to fenestration. The application is for a large single story extension across the back of the property, creating a new kitchen living space. The garden slopes upwards from the house, so the proposed extension will be dug into the slope. Sliding doors will open onto a new terrace with retaining wall and steps leading up to the garden. There are 3 roof lanterns on the flat roof to allow light into the rooms. All materials are to match the existing and no trees to be affected. There was a public comment requesting conditions on working hours, but under SDC policy, this can be allowed to place routinely on development, even in residential neighbourhoods. Recommendation is approval.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Thank you. Any debate? Can we vote, please, then? All in favour? Thank you. Carried. Still with you, councillor Daniel.
This is Thornhill and Oak Lane. The proposal is for an extension across all floors to the rear and side of the dwelling, including alterations to the roof line, installation of roof lights and dormer windows, internal alterations to fenestration and installation of PV panels, the extension of alterations to the garage. The Thornhill is a 3-storey detached dwelling on Oak Lane. The proposed extensions are to the north and the southeast, with the side extension being set back from the existing elevation so as not to distract from the design of the original building. The garage will be extended to provide a gym. The site is accessed via an existing entrance crossover directly onto Oak Lane, and there's ample parking at the front of the property, which will remain unaltered. It's locally listed and but not in a conservation area. This is a scaled down application following the refusal of a proposal in 2025. The original application was refused due to the overbearing and overwhelming effect on the local listed structure in the original Victorian building and harm to the street scene due to the increased massing. The proposed changes and extensions are now primarily focused on the north, east and southwest facing elevations, which are not readily available from the street. The garage has been reverted to its existing form, so no second story, and the accommodation on the second floor has been reduced. The tree officer's report states there are no protected trees, and the proposed extension to the house takes place outside the RPA, although garage is within, and recommends that the developer provides further information as to how they propose to extend the garage without damaging the tree. My recommendation is approval.
Do we have a second? Thank you. Any debate? Can we vote then, please? All in favour? Thank you. Councillor Shea, with you. Beth Anderson, haven't you?
Thank you, sorry for not having said it seems to be stuck in my outbox. So 21 Bettison Avenue, it's a proposal for a 2-storey extension to the rear of this semi-detached house. It is not across the full width, it's only off to the outer side of the pair of semis. It has full length windows on ground and first floor, but it's sufficiently offset from the houses at the end of the garden. I don't think that will be problematic. I'm going to recommend approval subject to the planning officer being satisfied there's no issue available.
Thank you. Do we have a second then? Thank you. Any debate? Can we vote, please, then? All in favour? Thank you. Carried. Moving on, councillor Michaelides, High Street.
Thank you, Chair. So this proposal is to install 1 fascia, 1 store directory and 9 vinyls. So this application is for the advertising requirements for the new Tesco Express on the ground floor of the old Tesco site, and that's on the west and north side of the building. And I think rather than you go through all the details, it's a lot easier to see it in these slides. So it's for the advertising for the new ground floor Tesco Express. There's going to be a store directory, glazing vinyl, and new non-illuminated Tesco Express fret cut lettering, if you can see. And then, as well as that, 9 Tesco vinyls to be applied, there you are, internally up to the full length of the glazing. So I think this is going to be Chandler's Walk.
Yep.
And then again on the High Street. So it's, you know, it's quite a big, it's quite a lot, but then many large supermarkets have this. So it's going to be quite a big Tesco's Express, so I'm interested to see what councillors think. I mean, my recommendation is approval, provided the planning officer is satisfied with the designs and materials, but I do welcome comments.
I think it's a bit hard on the mountain.
Yeah.
That's big now, but we were.
Yeah.
You wonder what the point is of glazing it and then covering all the glazing up.
Yeah.
You
Well,
can't see through it.
It's going to be very well
Advertising.
in this.
Okay, let's, one at a time, councillor Shay.
My instinctive reaction to this is that it's a shame to have had a building design that creates natural overlooking of this alleyway. And create natural light spill and interaction between the building and the passageway, which we were really keen to see opened up and become a much more people focused space than the dark hole that was there before with the old building. And this feels like it's a bit backwards in that regard. I'm now uncomfortable with the fact that they won't give light or overlooking to what will be quite a closed off space as a result of this.
Yeah, I agree with
Downside.
you.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think if Victoria was here, she'd be saying similar.
Yes.
Because she's got that. Councillor Clayton.
I agree. I mean, I think to block off every single window on Chandler's Walk is actually contrary to all the sort of stuff we've learned about public safety, and I think we should oppose it on that ground.
so what would you see instead then?
Well, at least I would like to see at least half of them open, so that
Like
you can,
open into the store?
yeah, so you can see
Yeah.
out in and out.
You can see people in
Okay.
there. And
Yeah, we did-
you
I
can see
just-
people outside.
Well, basically, this turns the whole of the ground floor into one giant billboard.
Or you could.
It's too big. It's too.
Yes,
it's too
it
dominant.
does. Okay, so we have a recommendation by councillor.
Well, I'm happy to- I'm
But we
happy to
didn't have
provide
a
that.
seconder, so
No,
we can change.
I just wanted to see what councillors
No.
thought, you know.
You could put smaller holdings on its window, but there was light coming in above them.
They could do a lot of things, but we're just looking at what they
Yeah.
are proposing,
Yeah.
which I think the comments that you've made, councillor Shay, are quite relevant.
Yes,
I'm tending to hedge with what you were saying, councillor Clayton, I mean, or whatever, propose refusal because of the reasons that you stipulated.
can I just point out that it's the west and the north side? So what about, this is the north side?
Yep.
So
West
what
side.
are our feelings about the west side?
Well, we can't recommend approval on one part.
No,
not the
but
other.
I mean, it's a full of.
Which is north and which is.
This is
west.
north. This is north,
This is.
and that's
That west.
That's west. West seems better, doesn't it?
Yeah,
well,
west is on the
they've
high-
only got half
That's
of
on
the
the high
frontage.
street, isn't
It's
it?
on the high street.
That's on the
Yeah.
high street, and the bit that we've just looked at is the alleyway.
That's right.
And that's what we're saying, the walk, that, as councillor Shay was saying, that it was designed to be open and spacious and,
It's not classy enough. is it?
and it's kind of,
The supermarket.
No,
You
it's,
can't refuse it. Obviously, it's a bit.
but they could do it better.
I think,
Can I just say that other supermarkets have exactly this? I mean, if you go around other towns with very large supermarkets.
I don't say that.
I think the point is where it is, because there was a lot of talk about linking and that passageway being really important. Other towns might not have that, but that's always been something that we've been looking at, as I say, councillor Granville was on about it. Do you
Chairman's
want to
right.
formulate some response,
Um,
refusal, because?
They could put the advertising on the wall.
Yes, mate. Can I suggest
no.
that the Southwark Town Council recommends refusal for this application on the grounds that the complete so the obscuring all the windows in Chandler's Walk is overbearing and
Public safety.
Contrary to, there must be, what's the design guide that we have for Chandler's Walk?
but
Public realm guide.
yeah, no, but I think it's overbearing
Yes,
and not in keeping with this part of the High Street Conservation Area, because this is in the High Street Conservation Area.
okay, I think
Not
that,
good for public safety.
No, I think we put that as well.
Councillor Shay?
Could we add then that it also negatively impacts the public realm of
Yes.
the open space to the side? Yeah.
And the thoroughfare.
But the west.
Too complicated.
Okay.
Okay.
No, that's okay.
I just feel like, why are we, what about the side of Boots opposite the bus station? I mean, what about the side of Lorimer's and?
We're not here to.
No, but I mean, why, you know, I sort of,
Because we're trying to change things.
Fine.
Because that bit was always something that was discussed as being, you know, important from a art and, you know.
yeah.
Victorian has the words, it was always, you know, the walkthrough was supposed to be art and all the rest of it along there, and is that?
It was proposed to be a cultural link.
Cultural link, that's the word,
To say
cultural
the
link.
environmental part.
Is it in the neighbourhood plan as such? In that case, we
Okay.
cite the neighbourhood plan, that's planning policy.
Yes,
Can we include that?
okay, we will cite that. Okay, so we have a refusal for all of those reasons, plus we will cite the neighbourhood plan. Did you want to add something, councillor Willis?
I just think it's got to be treated the same as Mountain Warehouse one, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
No, we think those in the mountain warehouse.
Oh, I see, what you're
Yeah.
saying, yeah.
Yeah, it's true, it's in the conservation area.
Yeah, well,
Can you separate the north and west?
No,
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 we haven't said,
Because
well,
the
we're saying where the problem. We're told about the problem.
no, it's the application in its entirety, we can't approve one bit and not the other, so. All right, any additional comments or debate? If not, let's go to vote. All in favour of that recommendation?
what refusal?
Yes, refusal because of the reasons stated. Okay, against that?
Just
You're
not
abstaining.
quite sure what we're actually saying, so I don't feel I can vote for it.
Okay, you're
Councillor
abstaining.
Dick, you're trying to emphasise that this is supposed to be a cultural link, this corridor.
Mm.
And by putting that down that side, it will contract from that.
Yeah, would you talk about putting it down that side? You were saying we
Saying-
can't discriminate between
Can't
the,
discriminate.
They'll come back with something else that hopefully is a sort of,
well,
nothing they
saying,
have the right to advertise.
We are just giving our comments. At the end of the day, it will be the planning officer that makes the decision. We are just asked for our you know, our thoughts, and that's what we're giving, and those are our thoughts based on the reasons we've given. And, you know, all we can do
not
is.
sure what our thoughts are.
Well, I just, I think our thoughts are pretty clear. I think Pure Lake have put quite a lot of thought into the design of this
Yeah.
building and made it light. Tesco of Clutton Road to do something completely different,
Yes,
which is out of keeping with the conservation area, given the design of the building.
so that's why we recommended refusal for those reasons.
Tesco's is Tesco.
Okay, let's move on. Councillor Daniel, 91 Wheeled Road.
This is an amendment to an application that's been granted to alter the external finishing materials. This is an amendment to an application granted in 2024 for a single story extension with stone cladding. It says it's an amendment to the external finishing materials, but there's no other information that I could see saying what the new materials are going to be. I think it'll be something to do with the stone cladding, but so my recommendation is approval, provided the planning officer is satisfied the materials to be used are in keeping with the character of the road.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Thank you. Any debate? Can we vote then, please? All in favour? Thank you. Carried. That brings us to the end of the applications. Back onto the agenda, we have press releases. Any press releases? Okay.
We should be press releasing that we have adopted the master plans. And thank everybody who's been involved with their input. And look forward to seeing their delivery over the coming year.
Excellent.
Yeah, I think we should emphasise that this, sorry,
I think Linda just started
Linda was
speaking.
just-
came up
sorry,
with a-
sorry.
I was going to say, Chair, that with all the questions, we just would like to wait until the actual amendments have been done, because people will love to see it and it won't be quite ready, so.
Yeah.
We might just delay that by a week or so, before the, you know.
And could we please emphasise that this is in support of the Severn Oaks District Council's local plan?
Yeah.
Which is what it is. It's a supporting document
Okay.
for the Severn Oaks District Council's local plan. So thoroughly constructed.
Yes, absolutely. Any other press releases? No? Okay, then it remains for me to say thank you very much and I close the meeting at 20:10.
Well done.
Ladies and gents, can I just run something